Alrighty, so the extended patch notes are out, which means we get to look at the actual banner and everything before the patch goes live. And I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, maybe do a should you summon, because this is, I think, a very interesting one. A lot of people seem to be not very happy with it, and I don't really understand the thought process. Like, I kind of do to an extent, but I don't know, it just this is a Ragnarok step-up banner. The last step-up banner that they did for Ragnarok was the Bond one, and I would say that this one has way better value. A lot of people were saying that they were saving for the next Ragnarok banner, and I'm assuming they were saying that because they wanted Freya. Yeah, we are getting the new red Thonar. It is a step up, so it's super cheap, 242 gems for the entire rotation to get a copy of her, which is really good compared to what you would have to spend for any other like normal character, because normal characters are most of the time on 600 mileage banners, unless they do a step up, so which they don't do very frequently. And you're going to get a couple of rewards just for summoning, which is kind of nice. There are 2 free multis where you only have to spend 1 diamond, which is very good. And you get a guaranteed SSR at 5, and you get the character guaranteed at 10. The banner itself is mainly Ragnarok units. The only thing that's not Ragnarok here is Excalibur Arthur, Deathpierce Blue Hauser, and Nanashi, which are not terrible characters. I would say, I don't know, they're not super useful nowadays. Maybe they put Arthur on like every single banner imaginable for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but he is he has been long 6-6'd in my box, so I'm assuming you guys might have maybe the same, you know, experience with that if you've been playing since his release. But there are a couple of decent, you know, Ragnarok characters. I could always use extra copies of Sigurd. You know, old Thonar is not really necessary to have dupes of or anything because she's a backline unit for the demon teams. But I could always use the box CC, so that's kind of nice. I would love to get some extra copies of Ragnarok Deanne if possible, and I still don't have Ragnarok Bond, so fingers crossed, really hoping I can pull a copy of him, because that would be super helpful. But yeah, Lost Veins kind of meh. Green Merlin's really bad. But the new Thonar is very interesting because if you don't know, she works for the dogs only. So if you read her passive, in Skull and Hati Demonic Beast Battle, increases the hero's damage dealt using their ultimate move by 200%. That's only for her, if I'm not mistaken. And increases allies' damage dealt using single target attacks by 30%. Increases allies' attack related stats by 40% for 3 turns every 3 times they inflict damage on enemies. That seems differently worded than it was in the JP patch notes. Which then again, those were like translated patch notes. I think the JP one's kind of translated to every time you use 3 single target attacks, you get the buff, which is pretty easy to do. You can recycle that pretty easily. But this one's saying that the single target attacks are increased by 30%, which might have been in the other one. I'm not positive on that. But either way, it's a really good passive to have, because if you don't know, the dogs have like tons of HP. It's just really hard to get like a lot of damage off on the dogs, and this is definitely going to help you like get through the fight a bit easier. It's not going to make the fight easy by any means, but it's going to make it a lot easier than it was. Her ultimate is a weak point, which is kind of disappointing because the enemy can't really be debuffed at all. Like the dogs are like really like debuff immune. Like I think every single debuff cannot be applied, which is kind of weird that they gave her a debuff attack skill. I can only assume that they're going to make this play into the the holy relic she gets, maybe. I don't know for sure, but her debuff card is remove stances, so this is at level 2, unfortunately, not a level 1, but remove stances from enemies and inflicts damage equal to 360% of attack, then disables stance skills for 2 turns. That's on level 3. I'm assuming at level 2 it's disables for 1 turn, but I don't think you can apply this debuff, if I'm not mistaken, so kind of weird that they would do it like that. Really not sure. There's been a lot of criticism about this character. I can definitely see that one being valid. Like the character, you know, you can't debuff the dogs, so why give her a debuff card? And then her other card is a deplete ultimate move gauge. I currently we did a couple of streams earlier in the week for like deer fighting and stuff like that, and I made an HP defense set for her. I think that might have been a mistake. I think I might end up having to remake a set for her with attack defense instead, because even from the footage that I've seen, it seems like even with attack defense, the dogs can patience her attacks, which is not, or well, I don't know about all of the attacks, and I don't know what the specific circumstances are for that. I might, I'll try it out with HP defense first for sure, so I don't hopefully have to make a new set. But if I do, oh well, I'll just keep the HP defense one for the green Thonar, which is not ideal, but at least it's not a total loss. But yeah, this is a deplete ultimate move gauge skill, which is really good actually, because the dogs have like some pretty heavy hitting ults, and if I'm not mistaken, the white dog will derank your cards, and I think it lowers your ultimate move gauge if it deranks cards like the old skills used to do. I'm not positive on that part, but I know it deranks for sure. And then I think the black dog has I want to say it's weak point, and he normally does put on debuffs and stuff like that, so it can hit kind of hard too. So having the deplete ultimate move gauge is actually pretty nice. So that's really nice. Even with low ult levels, this should actually do a pretty good amount of damage because of her passive boosting ultimate move damage by 200%, which is pretty good. And overall, I just think obviously you're using the character for the passive. This has already opened up a couple of different teams on JP where people are using like Scotty and stuff like that, just for a little bit more fun, instead of having to worry about, the ignites and stuff like that with Freyr, which is kind of cool. I think that it's really interesting. So hopefully when it hits global and people have a little bit more time to experiment with the character, because the global community is such a bigger community, I'm expecting to see some really interesting team comps beating the dogs after this character gets released. So hopefully she'll get a decent relic that will maybe do something with this debuff or just make the fight a little bit easier. But overall, I don't think that she's a bad character. If you're wondering, should you summon? I think if you're a late game player and you're trying to do anything with Holy Relics, I definitely think you should grab the character because it's super cheap right now. And in the future, you might not get so lucky with her being an unfeatured character. That's what's happening with me and Bond, so I urge you to grab a character while you can. I skipped Bond, and he was a step-up banner. He would have been really nice to get for super cheap, and I completely missed out on that, so don't be like me. And I understand that ReZero is right around the corner. They've already announced a live stream for it. They should be getting it on JP on Wednesday, so we'll be able to see what those characters do and everything. If you have to, definitely wait a couple of days, see what the new characters look like, see if you're wanting to try to, like, I don't know, 6-6 the characters or whatever. If you're a newer player, I can completely understand maybe not summoning on this banner because, you're not anywhere close to being able to do the demonic beast battles, but if you're looking into maybe doing any of the demonic beast battles and stuff in the future, which the dogs are by far the hardest one, you might want to have this character sometime in the future when you do want to attempt that. So I mean, she's gonna be on new banners and stuff like that. They put Jormungand and Magelda on like all kinds of banners nowadays, so I don't think that they're gonna be super stingy with her or anything like that. I mean, I guess to be seen, but so far with the other exclusive like demonic beast characters, they've been pretty generous at putting them on several banners, so that's really good. Hopefully they'll do the same, so that way you can pull extra copies of her. If not, pull a free copy if you haven't, or a new copy if you haven't, summoned on this banner by the time it ends. So I don't know. I would say that it's worth getting. She seems like she's actually going to help quite a bit. But then again, I've noticed that a lot of people don't really care too much about Holy Relics, and I can completely understand why. Because Holy Relics are super hit or miss in this game for some reason. Some characters get really busted Holy Relics. Some characters get ones that literally don't help them basically at all, which is super unfortunate. Really hoping that they sort of do a little bit more with Holy Relics maybe in the future. Hopefully she gets a pretty decent one, and she is a human if I'm not mistaken, so you'll be able to farm the bird to get hers hopefully. But either way, that's pretty much it. Definitely wait and see if you want to summon for ReZero collab characters first. Completely understand, that's completely reasonable. It comes out in a couple of days. We'll see what the characters look like, what they do, how good they are, if they're super OP, busted, broken, and then you can kind of come back to this banner and make an educated decision on it, because that would make the most sense. But I think she's good. I'm definitely summoning. If you're watching this as it comes out or close to when it comes out, I should be summoning in about an hour's time. By the time this gets uploaded, it'll probably be like 45 to 30 minutes later. At 12 a.m. my time, Eastern time. So If you want to stop by the stream, we'll probably try and summon for her. We'll see how it goes, and I'll probably try and mess around with the dogs a little bit on stream, and yeah, that'll pretty much be the extent of what I plan on doing, but who knows, we might do more, might do less, who knows. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know what your thoughts and opinions of the unit are, because I am curious. I've noticed a lot of hate, or maybe not hate, but just, I don't know, negativity around the character. You know, people don't seem to be super interested, and I can completely understand, like, oh, you know, it's Thonar, people aren't interested in Thonar, but I don't think Thonar's a bad character, but people, I guess, had this unrealistic expectation that Freya was going to be the dog character, and I don't know, it would have made sense, I guess, but at the same time, you know, whatever. I guess hopefully Freya will come out and she'll be something that you can use in multiple game modes and have a little bit more fun with, and not be an exclusive character, so who knows. Either way, see you in the next one.